Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the garden. Very hot today, very sunny, but we're forecast for torrential rain this afternoon. So what I want to do is go into the back garden where I'm going to have a greenhouse erected. Well, we're going to build the greenhouse. So I'm going to dig the border out now so that we can mark out just how big a greenhouse I can get in there. It's a tiny space. We're up against the clock because I've got my baby grandson is here and he's just fallen asleep, so I've got between 1 and 2 hours. So we'll go around now. I'll give you a quick, I'm talking quietly because the baby's asleep behind me in the garden. So this is the border that I'm going to dig out. This is where the greenhouse is going to go. The plan for the rest of this little space is that I'm going to turn it into, you can see I've already started clearing stuff out. I'm going to turn it into an all white garden, but I'll let this alstroemeria flower this year. So that's a lovely clump of Aquilegia. You see lots of new growth on there, good root system. I've taken all of the excess leaves off to take the stress off the roots and then put them in a jug of water, because it could be that it's a couple of days time before I get in the garden. And I'm keeping these Aquilegias because they're very tall and they'll show up around the garden. They'll stand up in my borders out there, which are very blousy. So that is a lovely clump of hellebore. taken the weeds out, taken the leaves right down, take the stress off the roots, but just leave one leaf there, put him in some water, and I'll replant him elsewhere. And all of these plants that you saw me cutting back, they are a very tall white iris. Beautiful. I'll just go and check out Tiddler. Yep, fast asleep. Right, so baby's woken up, so work has stopped for the moment. So I'm quite happy with what I've got done there. All these little plants that I want to keep, I've got in a trunk here of water. I have noticed that I've got a few really special ones which I don't want to dig out at the moment and just leave them. I'd rather find a place for them in the main garden, dig the hole and then dig them out. So this one in particular is Relocating alba, which I grew from seed. Bring me in a bit. And it's such a shame because I grew this from seed about 3 years ago and it's never done anything. So last year I chopped it, the bits up that were only about this big, put them around the garden and it's taken up and I can see the flower on that. So I'm going to dig that up with a great big root ball and plant that so I hope it doesn't go back. I've got hellebore, I've got a beautiful peace lily there and then a big lump of Rebecca and some flock and obviously my acer and this tree. So oh, and then I've got, I'll take the camera off. So this is a beautiful sedum, believe it or not, that I bought at Newby Hall last year. And this is what happens when your borders get too overgrown. He's just been flopping, well, trying to reach the light. So I'll cut him all back and plant him somewhere this afternoon as soon as possible. But I'm going to go in and give the baby lunch now. Good morning. Right, Right, well it's the next day, early the next morning after that torrential rain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin up this climbing rose. I've bought these little plastic clip things, and then it'll just, ow, very probably, it'll just get it up out of my way. And I don't know whether you can see, there's a big branch that's sort of heading off in that direction. And I haven't been able to get to this rose because the garden's been so overgrown. Actually, I could probably do with another trellis. Right, I think that'll do for the moment. Right, so I've got this big lily which I brought from my mother's house, well, my mother's backyard. He's finished, he's not going to flower again. He's got lots of new little leaves at the bottom, so I'm not worried about moving him. I'm just going to chop him down, and I've brought some large tubs round. Because he is a pure white tall lily, so he's going to look lovely in this garden, but I'm aware that once the greenhouse goes up I'm going to have very little space in these borders, so I think I will have, I'll just show you. I have that area in front of the conservatory there, which again, it only gets the morning sunshine, so quite shady, but a lily's going to be fine there. So I'll have lots of white plants in tubs, I think. The other beneficial thing about digging these plants out now is that normally the problem that puts me off is that when I'm transplanting a plant, I move it from one position, I have to go and find a space for it, dig a hole in the garden to put it in. But because we're going to pave this area to stand the greenhouse on, I can use this soil because I'd be wanting to get rid of it anyway. And this soil is about 50% sand. It's great, and also it's much easier for your plants to be moved when they're in the same soil that they've been growing in for the last few years. They don't have to get used to a new soil. So I'm going to dig the lily out, see how big the root ball is. From what I remember when I've transplanted these before, it's quite a small root ball. Put him in an appropriate size tub. I'm going to use the fork because, to start with, because the fork won't damage the roots as much as a spade would. Again, it's so warm today. I accidentally left the camera running when I ran in from the rain yesterday. I might leave that in when I'm editing, just to show you how volatile the weather is at the moment. It doesn't just start spitting on the rain, it's just like someone's dropped a bucket of water on you. Right, this is very interesting. So I've dug him out. What I've noticed is that there are loads of little lilies, each with its own little bulb. I'll show you here. Each one of those would be a new lily. You see? So this is another, if I wanted these lilies right round the garden, you could plant each one of these up, just grow them on over the winter, and the next spring you'd have a new little lily plant. You could have them dotted all round the garden. tell you what I'm going to do in the meantime. I'm going to dig out that hellebore, also known as Christmas rose. Dig him out. See, there's a nice bulb, some kind of bulb. I've got lots of beautiful tulips in here as well, white ones, so that would be great. I'm really excited about this area. And I was thinking, why am I keep prioritising other jobs in the garden and not getting on with doing this part? And the top and bottom of it is that I'm a bit anxious about the space that I'll get it cleared out. I've got a huge sheet of cardboard in the garage and we're going to lay it out in the size of a 6x8 greenhouse, and I think, oh, it's going to be too big. So I think that was part of the reason why I kept leaving it. Anyway, I felt much better last night when I looked out at this space. It looks so much bigger, doesn't it, when I'm emptying it out? I'm just being very gentle here. It's not that the ground's tough. Just again, the hellebores, I'm not really that concerned about. I've moved these all the time. They're going to be fine. They're finished flowering, but I don't want to break the roots of this and the hellebores right in amongst it. I'm going to put the spade in. I love this little spade. It's tiny, isn't it? But perfect for getting into small spaces. Oh, there we go. Very satisfying, that ripping noise. Can't remember what colour this hellebore is. See, I've got a big lump of the Veronicastum there. Oh. And I know this is white, so I know I want it. In fact, I might put that straight into the border. Dig some of the Linaria out and put this straight into the border. Oh, stand back up. Right. Put you there. All I'm doing is keeping these alive until I can find a place to put them in the garden. Because that's what takes your time up, sort of looking around the garden, identifying spaces for them, digging the holes, weeding the area. Right. If you have a look here on this border, that fern can stay, the pulmonaria can stay, this Rebecca here is going to stay for this year. He's beautiful, and then I'll put him in the main garden. Love this Linaria because it is almost white, but this big lump of Linaria, I'm going to dig him out. See if I can just pull him, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that Veronicastum straight into position here. See how easy it comes out of this soil. Look at that. And I'll cut these off and put them in a vase in the house. God, if all gardening was this easy. So I've got this whole area here where I can put that Veronicastum alba, and when you come up from the shady courtyard area, this is what you will see. Right, so we'll go and dig him out. And this is the time-consuming bit, isn't it, when you want to keep the plants that you're digging out much quicker if you were just chucking them all away. But I would never do that. Right, keep going in there. Out you come. what I've decided to do here is, this is some of that beautiful big tall white iris that I dug out yesterday, and all you have to do with this is plant it, because it's finished for this year. I'm going to plant it in the middle of these two bits here. So you just make a trench for its roots to hang down, but you leave this rhizome on the top of the soil to bake. Because the iris has been up about a month ago and finished, then I'll chop them down and then this will grow next year. So I'll have a continuation of flowers. Right, so then I've sort of shook all the soil in, and splitting this iris will have done this the power of good as well, because I got loads of iris out yesterday, and yet I can only remember seeing 3 flowers. So iris do respond well to being split. So there. Right, now I'm going to give the whole ground a soak of water. Right, good news, I've found my little fork with all the prongs going in the same direction. That'll be helpful. Again, I use a fork because it does less damage to the roots. Right, so I've got a lovely piece of yellow wallflower here, which those of you who know me will know I love yellow wallflowers. So I'll replant him round the front. And then these are my beautiful purple Dutch iris. Now you'll notice that I don't cut the foliage back on the Dutch, anything with the bulb, because what you have to do is you have to let this all go yellow and dead like that. The food all goes back down into the bulb and feeds it. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to put it in my front border, which has very little colour in it in June, May, June. I'm going to split them up into maybe groups of 3 or 5, probably 3. And I'm going to dot them around that front border, and when I've planted them in, I'll give them a good feed of liquid seaweed as well, and that will really bulk the bulbs up for next year. So I'll just put them in the shade for the moment. Right, so what I've brought round is the support that he was going through anyway, and I'm just going to try and get that over the top of him. I don't know what this is, I've had it for years. I don't think it is actually a purpose-made plant support. It's like something off a fire pit or something. I'm going to thread the plant through. Again, I'll stress, this isn't the right time of year to be moving a plant as big and well established as this. It's purely because I want to get the greenhouse started in the area. There we go. So that's, oh dear, casualty. But the rest of him was great. So that'll just give him a big support there. I'm going to get a watering can of water. Right, so that's it, all dug out for the moment. I'll make a decision about the where I'm going to put the rambling rose and the acer, whether I'm going to leave it in the soil or dig him up and put him back in a pot so I can actually move him around. So I'm just going to speed the film up now, and I'm going to clear this area, and then we'll have a look and see how much space I've got. So there we are, that's it done for today. It's far too hot now, and I think I've worn myself out anyway. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's the first in the series of greenhouse videos. The next stage will be, the next video I put out in this series, it'll be to mark out with cardboard and string and pegs so that I can try and visualize how big an area the greenhouse is going to take up, because I don't want it to look sort of crammed into this tiny space. I want it to look beautiful, but it has to be totally practical. If you've had a look at any of my other videos on the greenhouse that I use at the moment, which was my late father-in-law's round the corner, you'll see how many plants I grow from seed. It's standing room only. His greenhouse is, we think it's 8 by 10, and if I could have fit that into this space, I would have brought that greenhouse round here and re-erected it here, because I'm very attached to it, very sentimental. But I know that's not going to fit in here. We've done a rough measurement. I think mine's going to be 8 by 6, and that'll be plenty big enough. I'm going to be much more organised, much tidier. We'll see how that goes. No, I will. It'll be much tidier. So, yes, keep an eye out and look out for the next video in the greenhouse series. Bye bye till next time.